This is Andy Purewell for Boxing News. I'm joined by Leigh Wood here in Harlow, Essex. Lee, good to see you. How are you?
You too, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Enjoying training at the minute. Nothing nailed down, but yeah, just enjoying being in the routine of things. A lot of my friends fighting, a lot of the gym mates fighting, so all is good.
There's two ways to go about it. We can either start with yourself or start with the gym mates. I'm going to go straight into yourself. Since that stunning victory against Josh Warrington, all the highs, all the talk of potentially fighting at the City Ground, things went a little quiet. It seemed to be that you were just biding your time in the background, hoping that things were to come off. We never really saw you speak out on it. Recently, you've started to see you come out a bit more. But just take me back, especially to the beginning of the year when there seemed to be a lot more hope around May 18th coming off. I mean, obviously, we saw Fury Usyk postponed and moved to that date, which kind of put a pin in that. What can you tell me about why this fight hasn't happened for you, the rematch at the City Ground?
Yeah, I think it was down to the club and the dates. Take that out a few weekends, and there's a football season, and the pitch gets redone again. So there are loads of things going off, and it's a lengthy process as well. There's meetings that has to be done with the board, the committee board, and yeah, there's a few reasons I don't want to go into why it didn't happen. A few things at the club, but we've got a new commercial director at the minute, a new commercial director, and he's got the experience of organising a fight before. He used to work for Leeds when Josh boxed here, so he's got the experience. He knows the process it takes to get it done. He knows the time frames, and I've been speaking to him. Ideally, I'd like to pencil in something for next year, but obviously it has to be with the promoter, and I need to get a deal in place. It may not happen. It may or may not happen. I may have one fight, I may have two, I may have three. So I don't really know, but it'll be good to pencil that in just in case. I'm still active, I'm still fighting, and we get there and I've not done it. It's like, oh, not again, because that's the only thing that's driving me really.
Something I was about to ask. Obviously, on the back of a Warrington fight, yourself, Ben, the team kind of said maybe one more year of your career. I mean, ideally you sail off into the sunset, financially secure, and you've achieved that dream of boxing at the City Ground. Is that something which you feel like, if it didn't, or if it hasn't been provided this year, that is, you're going to keep chasing it into next year?
I'm not too sure. Like I said in many interviews today, I could only have one more fight, so I need to make sure that's in front of my own people, in my own city, at the arena. Just in case that's my last one, a little bit hard. If I fight away somewhere for a shit ton of money or whatever, it's not really what I'd prefer. I'd rather fight in my own city for a little bit less money, and look back and go, look, I experienced it one more time, walking out in front of them fans, my ring walk, and winning in front of my own people, let them have a great night and make the memories. But going back to the beginning of the year, I didn't do any interviews because you guys popped in a few times around the time I found out later on in the year when I found out it wasn't going to happen. I literally, if you'd have done an interview with me that day, you lot popped in. It's like, oh, can we get into it? I was like, oh, I can't, mate. Honestly, I felt I would have cried on camera. I would have, because it felt like at the time I'd been through so much to make that fight. I done everything I needed to do. I beat everyone I needed to beat my biggest domestic rival, come back and beat someone who chin me. I've just been through so much in the gym, been through so much on fight night, and to have it pulled underneath me at the last minute, and then chance of it may not happen again because of the timing. Like, I was so emotional. I felt like my world had just crumbled. But you have to step back, reassess, change your goals, and look forward to what's next. And if it don't happen, I can live with it if it don't happen. But it could happen. It's in the pipeline. I feel like whoever I sign with, because obviously I'm a free agent at the minute. I started with Matchroom, like in title fights. I'd like to finish with Matchroom. But if I sign with someone else, I sign with someone else. But ideally, whoever I sign with, I'd like to try and get a bit of a plan in place to pencil that in for next year.
Are those talks underway with promoters away from Matchroom? Obviously, I know after you beat Josh, you said that, I think it's in your post-fight presser, that contractually your last fight actually stated it had to be at the City Ground, that wasn't able to do so by, I imagine, a time restriction in place. Have you started negotiating elsewhere? Obviously, in terms of super feather, there's a lot of talented fighters out in the States with Top Rank or with PBC.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to Matchroom and get something in place for them, because ideally I'd like to stay with them, but I'm not going to sit around for months and months in what could be my last year of fighting and not fight. So, but yeah, we're just trying to give Matchroom a bit more time at the minute, and you know, you got that mouth with prick up leads, still talking. I think that's something I'd like to do again and shut him up for good, because there's genuinely not even the word dislike. I don't even like. I hate him. You know, he's just the way he's gone off, and I feel like he was only respectful because he thought he was going to win, which anyone can be. But then it hit him and got beat. He kind of changed. But yeah, I'd like to shut him up for good, whether that's next or one after or whatever.
It's obviously the man you're referring to there is Josh Warrington. He spoke to the media after this past weekend in Sheffield when Dalton Smith stopped Jose Zepeda, and he said to me, he's starting to look at other avenues because he doesn't want to be waiting on you now. What has been away from the City ground? What can you tell us about why something more concrete hasn't come to place with you?
He said in various interviews that I'm demanding Mayweather money. That's not the case. If I got X amount for the first fight, say if someone wins you have a fight with someone and someone wins the first fight, going into the rematch, does the winner get more or less money?
You'd imagine more their value would go up.
Yeah, you'd imagine more. I'm not demanding loads more. I think his purse should come down and my purse should go up. I think that's fair. I don't think that's the case. I think he's demanding too much money. I'm not making demands. To fight in Nottingham, it's a small arena. I'd probably take the same money as I made in the first fight, which I think is more than reasonable. But these are discussions we need to have a match in. But I'd just like to show him. I'm getting to the point where I'll just drive up to Leeds and just chill him without getting paid. You're just talking so much shit. It's like, I don't know how he has the audacity after getting put flat on his back in the first fight to say the things he said, but he is, and hopefully I get the chance to shut him up for good.
Are you surprised at this stage in your career you've found a rivalry such as the one you've got with Josh then?
Yeah, I feel like he's created it. The things he said, and like even in the first fight, like even though like he wore that T-shirt and he did a few things, I took it as tongue in cheek, and I was very respectful, and he was being fairly respectful to me. Even the head-to-head, like he said a few things, and even though I said I was going to beat him and how I was going to beat him, there's still respect there. I don't think that would be the case this time. If we fight again, like I can't see how I'm going to sit there and shake his hand after some of the things he said and the way he's been.
At super featherweight, a new version of Leigh Wood, obviously be a new version of Josh Warrington as well, but how do you anticipate the fight would be any different to what we saw first time around?
So if we boxed at super featherweight the first time around, the fight would have pretty much played out the same way as it did. It wasn't because I made weight which made me look a bit like sluggish. He was working extremely hard, but the rematch will be totally different based on the information we've got from the first fight. Lee Wylie and Ben look at the fight, and we've already been working on things in case it happens again. I'm gonna shut him. I'm gonna shut him up a lot quicker.
You just mentioned Ben and Lee, and obviously getting a lot of credit at this moment in time for work they've done, not just with yourself, but obviously with AJ, with Fabio Wardley ahead of the weekend, Chris Kongo returning amongst the likes of the McCormack brothers. I remember doing an interview with you last year, and you said that sooner or later they're going to be recognised as the best team in the world within boxing in terms of trainers. Do you feel like that's starting to come to fruition now?
Yeah, I made a statement which was along the lines of people will start to recognise, and the gym's going to get flooded, and hopefully it's when I've retired. But the gym's already started to get flooded. Obviously, they work with the likes of Haney and other fighters overseas. Now AJ's in the gym, takes up a chunk of time, and we've got other fighters wanting to come to the gym, very high-profile fighters, and I think they've had to turn a few people away just because they've not got the time. But there is a few fighters I think going to be on the way soon. So yeah, it's starting to. People are starting to take note, as I knew they would. It was a strong comment for me saying they're the best team, one of, if not the best team in the world, and people are starting to realise that it's not off my statement or comment, it's off results and performances.
Lee, one of those men who had an unbelievable victory, is a good friend of yours, Jordan Gill, defeated a former foe of yours in Gill-Conlan over in Belfast. He's now got another big fight with Zelfa Barrett on the horizon. What do we see in that fight? How does Jordan beat Zelfa Barrett?
Zelfa Barrett's a very good fighter. It's a hard fight for Jordan, but it's one I believe he wins by stoppage. It's starting to look a lot better because he came here for the Conlan fight, and obviously it's a new way of doing things, a new way of operating, and you trust it. But it's the first time you're going through that. What's the word? Yeah, through that process of doing things. So obviously it's all new. now he's got his confidence from winning, as you do, but he's got his confidence from winning, and he's got confidence in the preparation of how to do things as well. So you're going to see an even better Jordan Gill via Zelfa Barrett.
I was always curious that if maybe May 18th would have happened, we obviously don't know what's happening with Marku Kongo, but maybe they could have had their rematch if Kongo was to invoke the rematch clause on the undercard of yourself and Warrington. Is that something which Jordan's ever spoke about? If Mick's to return the rematch, because he said to me he'd still be up for it.
Yeah, I think it would go the same way. I think the way Mick does things, and with us, with my fight with Mick, it was like we didn't have the information how he would react to the things I did. So then once I've boxed him once, we've got the information then, and then we can use it. And I don't think Mick can make adjustments, the massive adjustments we would need to make that rematch with Jordan any different.
Obviously, just moving on to this weekend coming, Sunday night boxing, Fabio Wardley, Fraser Clarke, big man, returns. How does that one play out?
I got him back my stable mate. I think it's explosive, but you never see them fights like that that go one way. There will always be sticky moments. I think it will have to come through sticky moments, but I believe it gets the job done.
Of course, Chris Kongo and Florian Marku as well.
Again, a hard fight, but this is the best I've seen Chris. I'm not sure if I've seen the shape of him today. He's took it very seriously, and I'm backing Chris to get the job done.
Right, Lee, I know there's a big queue formed. A lot of people want to speak to you, get your thoughts on the delaying seeing your return. So I look forward to hopefully a good positive update soon. If I can speak to me in Boxing News.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be back out soon. Just the politics of boxing. I just hold him up a little bit at the minute. Whether it's Warrington, which I'd prefer because I love to shut him up, or it's someone else, which is fine as well. Hopefully I'll have something nailed down soon and get my first fight of 2024 out of the way.
Lee, thank you.